Hello and welcome. This lecture is going to be making this button actually do something useful. We've already hooked up how to interact with it, so in this lecture we're going to make it so that that back button does indeed go back by doing a little bit of refactoring and then being able to call from Blueprint up to our game mode. So if I do that, I go back to my main menu, as you can see, and I can go back and forth between the two ad infinitum. So let's dive in without further ado and see how this can be achieved. Alright, so the aim of this lecture is to move what we've currently got as an implementation in Save in the VR pawn into our game mode, where I think is a more relevant place, particularly in the painting game mode. We want to put a U function for this. So how are you going to do this? I think the easiest way is just to do it through Blueprint. To be honest, you could do it through C++, but I'm going to challenge you to do it your own way because, to be honest, it doesn't matter which way you choose. So what we're going to do is have a look at a challenge definition. Right off the bat, you're going to connect the button to do the returning back and saving the game. So the way I'm going to do it, you can do it differently. I'm going to create a U function on game mode. I'm going to call that U function from the WBP palette menu. And then I'm going to move the implementation from where we've currently got it on the VR pawn over to the game mode. Now you can do this in C++ if you want. If you were to do it in C++, then you'd put it still the same on the game mode side, but you would have a base class to the palette menu, and you would bind the function there in C++, as we've done many times previously. So I'm just going to show you the Blueprint way as well. So pause the video and give this a shot right off the bat. Okay, welcome back. Let's do this. So first off, creating the U function on the game mode. So we've got our painting game mode. Let's go over to the public interface. We've currently got a save and a load. I'm going to create a save and quit as well. So it's going to be a void save and quit, which is going to obviously do both of those functions. And it is going to be a U function. And you may have guessed that you need to do something in this U function. It might be Blueprint callable in order for us to actually get hold of it. And then what we've got to do is go ahead and implement. So copy the signature over to the C++. I'm going to do it underneath load and save. Have our save and quit function in there. So that's pretty much created that. So just got to go ahead and compile it. And then what we can do is go over to our editor, find in the UI folder the palette menu and the WBP palette menu, find our button, create a binding. So I think on clicked, I tried this before, on clicked was really funny and didn't really work. On pressed and on released do work, however. So let's do an on released. And from on released, we're going to want to get hold of the game mode. So if you right click, just an empty space, and look for game mode, then you can just do a get game mode. You can cast this game mode to a painting game mode, which will have the right function on it if it succeeds in casting. And then what we can do from there is call the save and quit function that we've just created and it's just compiled in. So that's basically the call to the save and quit. So finally, we want to move our implementation. So let's go have a look at the VR pawn. The moment I'm going to remove the binding first of all, because I don't think we want the binding in two places. That's a little confusing. And then we can just, I'm going to cut it and then see what doesn't work, read through it, review that code in the painting game mode CVP. So what have we got? First of all, we're getting hold of the game mode to call save on it. No longer need to do that. We just need to call save. And then to quit, very simply, we are going to navigate to the main menu. So why is it not happy with get world? I've actually got a feeling that this is a bogus error here. We do have access to gameplay statics. I'm going to go ahead and build just in case it actually is going to work. Do always bear in mind that errors of the IntelliSense are not necessarily that intelli at all, not very intelligent or sensitive. So what we can do is remove the save function entirely from the VR pawn. That's what I've just done. Removed it from the C++ and the header file. And the painting game mode now should have that full implementation. I can go ahead and build in those extra bits of removal. And while we're at it, let's clear things up completely. I'm going to go to settings, project settings, and find our input section, action mappings. and remove the load and save because we no longer need those. Do we still have load even hooked up? I don't know that we do. Probably not. Let's have a look at the VR pawn. No, we've just got right trigger and left trigger hooked up, so that's fine. Cool, let's go ahead. We've built it already. I don't need to build it a third time. So let's check that it's working. Hit play. And let's see about my menu. Nope, that's not worked. Hit play again maybe. There you go, now it's tracking. And here's my menu. Here's my hand. If it tracks correctly, I go back on release, I'm back in the menu, and I can pop back and keep going back and forward between these two. Hooray, it worked. We managed to successfully bind something that you have done before, but just a little bit of revision never hurt anyone. Well done for doing that as an entire challenge by yourself, and I'll see you in the next video, where we're actually going to be moving on to making our pagination system work. So an entirely different system, and that should be really interesting. It's going to teach us a bunch of different things about how to manipulate those dots on the screen, but not only how to manipulate them, but how to do the maths around pagination, which can be quite interesting. So join me in that to find out how we make a pagination series.